At the outer reaches of the Arctic, this hardcore crew
Minus 12, wind chill minus 22.
This is actually a nice day.
battle mountains of snow
This is where it gets bad.
and sheets of ice
With some ice buildup, there could be a derailment.
to keep a crucial supply route open.
It's a track emergency and we got a train coming.
The Ontario Northland Railway.
A variety of things that could go wrong out here.
This critical lifeline transports fuel, food, and freight to remote communities throughout deep winter.
It gets pretty dangerous out there. You want to be stranded.
If the trains can't roll through this frozen hell,
The weather definitely makes it worse, for sure.
these communities may not survive.
For Northern Ontario, it's a lifeline.
This time, a deadly blizzard
We get some freak snowstorms. There's always ice to consider.
and smashed tracks
Can't lift it with just the bar. Won't let us.
threaten to derail a crucial 2,000-ton cargo run.
You're always constantly fighting against ice, snow buildup.
Come on!
They're calling for freezing rain tonight, so we gotta watch out.
Deep in the frozen north, one of the world's most extreme stretches of railroad snakes over 1,000 kilometers across the tundra. The Ontario Northland Railway was built almost 120 years ago. Today, it's a backbone of steel and a gateway to the Arctic. Almost 100 towns and villages are connected in the frozen north. A draw for tourists and a vital lifeline for First Nations communities and industry. From Moosonee to the freight hub of Cochrane, branches spider out across the province to communities such as Hearst and Timmins. The line extends as far south as North Bay, where freight is distributed out to the national and international trading hubs of Toronto, Montreal, and New York. This northern powerhouse brings up to $63 million each year to the local economy. But in one of the harshest environments on Earth, it takes an elite team
Come on!
and monster machines to keep the trains moving. It's 6 a.m. in Hearst Yard. Sub-zero conditions and a blizzard overnight have left the trains and tracks frozen with snow and ice.
Hello, hello!
Conductor Jay Faldine is gearing up to do battle with the freezing conditions. To take one of the railroad's longest freight trains on a mission to transport 2,000 tons of crucial cargo.
It's a bit of a mixed bag on today. We got some fuel, we got a little bit of lumber. We've got just over 2,000 tons on today and about in the neighborhood of 1,400 feet.
Jay needs massive pulling power to complete today's mission. 2 mighty diesel-electric locomotives lead the train. Each contains a giant 16-cylinder engine that pumps out more power than 10 SUVs. Weighing 100 tons apiece, together they have enough power to pull loads of up to 9,000 tons at speeds of up to 90 kilometers per hour. Jay's heading east to the local hub of Cochrane. The fuel and lumber are already on board, but he must make a crucial stop to pick up a 2,500-ton load of newsprint.
We have a stop to pick up at least 24 loads of newsprint that we bring to Cochrane as well. And then it goes down into the States or Canada for different newspapers, whether it be the Toronto Star or papers down in the United States. We don't want anything to delay us. We want to get from Hearst to Cochrane as quickly and as safely as we can.
Jay's on a time-critical mission. Starting at Hearst, his train will pick up a 2,500-ton supply of newsprint from the paper mill in Kapuskasing. He must haul this through heavy snow and several iced-up road crossings to the hub at Cochrane. Here, yard workers will build the train up into one of the longest on the network, before heading to Englehart and eventually the printing press of the Toronto Star newspaper. It's vital the newsprint gets there on time. This supersized paper run is close to Jay's heart.
Way back in the day, one of my first jobs was riding around the neighborhood on my bicycle delivering newspapers. 35 years later, I'm a paper boy still, just on a bigger scale. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I still read a newspaper. I don't read anything online. So it's kind of nice to still be contributing to that with some of the stuff that we haul.
The mill at Kapuskasing relies completely on the train to send its paper south. It now produces 200,000 tons of newsprint every day from timber harvested nearby. Winter is their busiest time because this is when the ground around forests like this freezes.
It's a big race to get it done because what you're standing on right now is actually peat moss, black muck frozen together. Once the sun comes out, the thaw starts, we can't get in and out of this area at all.
Gilles Cyr looks after 12,000 square kilometers of forest. He has just a 3-month window during the winter to harvest the timber before the swamp thaws and becomes impassable.
Time restriction is a big issue. We operate 24 hours a day, all the machinery.
For maximum speed, Gilles relies on a fleet of extraordinary mega machines. First up, a tree-cutting colossus known as the Fellabuncher.
It's a heavy machine. It doesn't look fast, but it'll reach you pretty fast, put you in a danger zone in no time.
Next, a $350,000 23-ton skidder moves the freshly cut trees out of the forest to the roadside. And finally, the 27-ton delimber shreds off the branches.
You'll finish up the final touches for the wood to get to the mill. You'll be taking the limbs off, you'll top it off, pile it nice and neat.
They load the timber onto trucks in 42-ton batches and send them to paper mills to be processed.
All my buddies down there will be happy to see it coming in because they'll make the final product.
The mill needs the freight trains to haul the newsprint south on time.
It feeds some pretty big publications in the United States and in Canada, Toronto, New York, Chicago.
The paper train is a critical run for the railroad. It's also one of the heaviest trains on the line.
Yeah, that is correct. Thank you very much, RTC. Truck's let's go.
So up ahead, Track Inspector Pat Zugay must check on the rails for any defects before the train passes through.
I got lots of freight coming onto this line.
There's a lot of tonnage going over it.
So if I find something, I'll need to get fixed as fast as I can.
And we got some really cold winters. If we've got a lot of frost and snow, we usually get around -40 to -30. And we've got to inspect every single joint.
And as Pat pushes further down the line, It's not just the joints in the track that could be a danger. The blizzards overnight have left massive dumps of snow on the tracks.
It's one of the worst winter I ever had for snow. If the snow fighter don't remove the snow, it creates a buildup, and you don't want that. It's really important that the snow fighter remove the snow. No, we can't stop that train, so we need to get that fixed ASAP.
On the train, Jay's got problems of his own.
Oh my God. Typically, we have our hot box detectors, which tell us if there's any sticking brakes, dragging equipment, basically anything wrong with the train, but they're not working today. And that's where things could escalate, where you may end up with a really defective wheel, which could potentially do some damage.
At regular intervals along the line, infrared detectors mounted on the track, called hotboxes, measure the temperature of the train's wheels as they pass. If a wheel is stuck or a brake gets jammed, the wheel gets hot and the hotbox identifies it as faulty. The exact location of the faulty or hot wheel is relayed to the conductor, who can stop the train and check the defective wheel.
If we go 60 miles without the hot box detectors working, we have to stop the train.
Without the detectors, he'll have to do it the old-fashioned way.
We've got to get to it. We've got to get ready here and hop off the train and just do a pull-by inspection of our entire train to make sure everything's okay. We've got to keep everything moving.
While Jay goes trackside, engineer Mike remains at the controls. As the train passes, Jay checks each wheel to see if it's sticking.
We got to do a complete pull-by with our train, just to inspect all the cars.
With a half-kilometre, 40-car train, it takes some time. Whilst Jay is responsible for the loco engines and cars on the tracks, back at base, there's another vital team who makes sure these super tough machines keep rolling, no matter what the brutal winters throw at them.
We have a lot of freight to move. When it's time to over all these things, we got to get it done as quick as possible so we can get it back out on the rails as fast as we can.
At the railroad's huge 4,400 square metre machine shop in North Bay, more than 200 engineers and mechanics carry out critical repairs on the entire fleet.
There is a lot of pressure because there's a lot of variables with a unit like this.
To keep the locomotives going through the extreme conditions, workers completely deconstruct, restore and rebuild each machine from the ground up every 10 years.
These machines are quite complex. Usually a 2 or 3 week strip time to tear this unit down from top to bottom, and then there's a build time where it usually takes 4 or 5 weeks to build the engine, the generator overhaul, the trucks. It's a pretty complex procedure.
Today is the first day of a refurb on a crucial locomotive that serves the far north. This engine is massive. It weighs more than 115 tons and is made up of more than 500 components.
We're good here?
Mechanic Andrew's first job is to remove the huge metal roof and body panels.
We're gonna lift off that 15-foot roof section to make some room for the overhaul so we can start pulling pieces off of it. Once all the body panels are off, then it's all hands on deck. So right now, got the chain on there. He's gonna bring it up on top of the roof, and then Zach's gonna be up top.
The huge steel body panels that protect the locomotive weigh up to 2 tons each.
That's nice and straight. Any type of lift, there's always danger in there.
The team work methodically, removing all of the train's panels one by one.
Yeah, you're good. That's coming. I love doing overhauls. Everything on this will either be brand new or reconditioned when it goes back together.
The workshop and its highly skilled team can strip down every component of a working locomotive and rebuild it from scratch.
In the automotive world, your starter goes, your alternator goes, you just go and get a new one. But here, the parts are so much bigger and so expensive, you're not gonna throw out a $15,000 alternator because it needs a rebuild. So they'll rebuild it and overhaul it.
But a comprehensive overhaul like this on such a large machine creates unique challenges for Troy and the team.
It's a pressure the whole time. Every single unit's different. None just go easy. There's something always fights you.
Extreme snow makes a big difference on the fleet. We get a lot of major breakdowns. Until we get the unit stripped down to the raw material, we might not know what parts we need.
Finally, the locomotive roof and main body panels are off.
This is when it starts, yep. This is when the ball gets rolling.
The mechanics still have a long way to go, but the end result more than makes up for all their hard work.
They're bulletproof. It blows me away every day that I'm here, how long and how strong these actually are. And it takes a lot to take one out. They're tough, tough, tough.
The locomotive engines may be tough.
Another 30 or so.
But on the tracks, Jay's biggest headache is the electronics.
Another 20. 20 Our hot box detectors, they're not functioning today, so we got to do it ourselves. We got to do a complete pull-by with our train. Another 10 or 12. 10 or 12.
With the train's detector system out of action, Jay must spot check every wheel of the half-kilometre-long train.
And 5 to go.
5 works.
Thankfully, no issues so far. Checked out good both sides.
Both sides strictly.
Yep, on our way up. Everything's good, no dragging equipment, no sticking brakes. We're good to keep on rolling.
The cars are fault-free, and after a long walk back to the cab, the paper train can power on. Jay and his super tough train battle heavy dumps of snow as they near the newsprint pickup.
Northern Ontario winters are a bit different than most other places. It gets pretty cold. The coldest I've ever worked in was minus 53 up in Moosonee. And that was a little bit extreme. This time of year, we get some freak snowstorms, or there's always ice to consider.
On the tracks, Inspector Pat is also battling Mother Nature.
You're always constantly fighting against ice, snow buildup.
So far this winter, temperatures have plunged to minus 41 degrees centigrade, and 76 meters of snow has fallen across the province. The trains can blast through light snow on top of the tracks, but heavy snow can derail lighter carriages and even locomotives. Several days of heavy snow means the line ahead urgently needs clearing before the train can pass through.
We had a lot of snow, and it's been down for a couple days, and now it's time to catch up.
Pat needs backup.
We got the snow fighters to clean the snow.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you. Checks for the pets, good. I radioed my guys. They're on their way as fast as they can.
The paper train needs to get through on time, so he's calling in the big guns. The 24-ton monster machine, capable of blasting through even the deepest drifts. The Snow Fighter. This is a snow-slaying mega machine. Powered by a turbocharged 6-cylinder diesel-electric engine, it's capable of blasting through up to 2 meters of snow and ice. Up front, it has a specially molded steel blade. Operators can move this up and down and change its angle with millimeter precision. Either side, 4-meter-long mobile wings throw the snow clear of the tracks. This super tough machine can clear 100 kilometers of track every single day. In charge of Pat's Snow Fighter today is one of the line's most experienced operators, Pete Tuzine.
I'm going to get this job done today, and I'm not going to delay it. No freight today.
So your eyeball straight to a call stock, do the yard, move that snow as fast as you can, get back to hers, please.
Okay, sounds good, boss.
Yeah.
Pete sets the Snow Fighter's blades low and starts to punch through the snow.
I love it. My job is to get the snow off the track and prevent derailing.
These machines may be tough, but they're also worth over $500,000, and operating them takes skill.
I go as deep as I can, and I remove all the snow, push the snow as far as I can, and put the plow down so it'll take care of all the hard-packed snow.
Pete has been driving Snow Fighters for almost 35 years.
I operate any kind of machineries that the Ontario Northland own it or rent it. I operate everything. I love the bush. I love you traveling every day. You're not always at the same location.
It's going to take all of Pete's experience and this machine's mighty muscle power to blast a clear path through the heavy snow drifts ahead. For the train crews, this can be the difference between life and death.
The snow fighters that we have out here and the spreaders, they're lifesavers. There's been times where snow or ice will hit one of the levers and pull the train apart. And I've had trips where I've walked back 40, 50 cars in hip-deep snow. And those are the days that you never forget. The days that the snow fighters are out, it's a blessing for sure.
But the subarctic storms have not only dumped mountains of snow across the line, they've also frozen the tracks solid with ice.
We have a lot of crossings along here. If we've got too much ice buildup on the crossings, there is the potential for a derailment, and that's something we definitely do not want.
It rests on the shoulders of Pat and the track maintenance teams to check for sections of ice-damaged rail and fix them as quickly as possible.
All our section guys will be out there today just doing everything that they do to make sure that we get across the track safely. A lot of the stuff they do is right on the spot. They find a problem, they fix it, and keep all the trains rolling.
As Pat continues his track patrol,
Spot a problem here.
it's not long before he discovers a serious problem. The crossing looks badly damaged.
We just found a defect here. We'll have a look at it. Doesn't look good. Look at the hump.
This is a dangerous fault. The rails bow upwards where they cross a local road.
And if we had a train going over this at track speed, there's a big chance of derailing. And we don't want that. So now I gotta call my guys up and come and fix it as soon as possible.
Where a road crosses the train tracks, regular car and truck traffic compresses any snow and ice. Over time, this drives the ice deeper into the soil beneath the track, making it colder than the surrounding earth. As the moist soil below freezes, it expands, lifting the earth and the tracks upwards. If it lifts up too much, this can derail a train. With the train hot on his heels, Pat calls in the maintenance crew to make an urgent fix.
Hey John, at mile 78.85, I got a surface defect. We need to do this as fast as we can before the next train over.
Do as fast as you can for the next train, okay?
It's now a race against time to repair the track so the train can pass through. Down the tracks, Pete and his mighty snowplow are making good progress.
Okay, let you know when I'm close to 15, 1-5, over.
And smashing through the snowdrifts.
Yeah, let me know when you're close to 15.
I'm very close to it. I'll let you know when I'm at the bridge, over. The snow was heavy today, but I took care of it. I'm going to dirt this baby around, spin around, and get back home.
With the line clear, Jay's train can safely power into Kapuskasing.
RTC 01809 south here. We've arrived the North Cautioneer limit sign Kapuskasing.
To load up.
Just going to pick up our paper loads here in Kapuskasing.
The mill has its own railroad siding, where they line up cars loaded with paper for shipping. Jay has to cut his train in two and switch the locomotive onto the side track to pick up the extra cars.
She's just gonna pull up to me and I'll get my cut to go back and get those the paper cars.
The mill at Kapuskasing was built in the 1920s by the New York Times. They dammed a local river to create power, bought rights to 11,000 square kilometers of arboreal forest, and built a whole town around the mill. It provided paper for the New York Times right up to 1991, when the company pulled out. Employees and townspeople took ownership of the plant, saving the mill and hundreds of jobs. They now rely on the railroad to get their newsprint to its destination on time. So Jay's got to make sure all the cars are secure and in the right order.
Just bringing these cars up to the main line switch to back onto the paper in number 1.
Up ahead,
get the hammer warmed up.
The track maintenance crew arrive to fix the damaged crossing.
We got to get this done as quick as we can because it's a track emergency and we got a train coming. This is where the defect is. Really dipped right here. This is low and your crossing is high, so makes your crossing look like this right here, right now. Because when the train goes, that's when the braille goes bang and breaks in half. So we end up a real emergency.
Foreman Darren Martin has been working on the railroad for 25 years.
Come on, guys, we got to get this done quick. My job is important because if we don't take care of the tracks, the trains can't run over top of it. Of course, you always want to be on your A game because train time is anytime, anywhere. You don't want to have any accidents, especially in this place.
He knows more than most how dangerous this work can be.
Took a spike to the face.
10 years ago, while hammering rails, a metal spike ricocheted up and hit his face.
It was in the ground, and I went to tamp it. It come flipping up.
One behind you, buddy.
Caught me like this and ripped me wide open from there to there. So here I am holding my cheek together like this, and I went to the hospital for 4 hours.
Watch your step on the crossing, guys. It's real slippery there.
As Darren surveys the site, he realizes that this isn't going to be a quick fix.
Always at the crossing is always the worst spot.
Oh, man. Lots of ice.
Oh. Now I'm gonna dig out this rail and take all the ice out of there because we have to get down to where we can see our spikes and our plates and our ties.
I'll get the other claw bar.
The team have to pull out over 50 frozen spikes using sheer brute force.
Oh, I hate these under the boat.
Then, they must carefully lift up the track either side of the crossing to even it out. This will be no simple task.
Those things are called shims, pieces of wood, and we're gonna put them underneath our plates to lift up the rail to make it even, like an even flow going all the way across. A little sharp hump is gonna be a long, gradual hump after we're done.
It's a slow and painstaking process. To flatten the hump, Darren's team first has to pull all the spikes holding the rails to the sleepers. Next, they have to lift the rails either side of the hump and put thin pieces of wood, called shims, underneath. Finally, they hammer the spikes back in. Lifting both rails either side of the hump evens out the slope, making the track safe.
The crossing is like this now. We have to take the rails on both sides and lift them up to make them even and an even slope instead of the train trying to go over.
Put some salt on the crossing so no one slips.
First, they try to lift the rails using claw bars.
We can't lift it with just the bars. It won't let us.
It's not moving. Darren needs a new plan, and fast.
Okay, we can't use 2 claw bars. Now I'm gonna get a track jack.
At Kapuskasing, Jay races the clock to hook up the cars full of newsprint. He needs to make it to Cochrane before nightfall.
And it's got some handbrakes I gotta pop off here.
It's a battle against the plummeting temperatures.
That's one of the few things about this job. When it's cold, everything's metal. Everything you're touching or hanging onto is metal.
With the cars finally attached, they can power on to Cochrane. But navigating a kilometre-long train takes skill.
Now that we've left Kapuskasing, we've got about 4,500 tons and about 2,700 feet on.
It's vital Jay gets to Cochrane quickly. Stopping this monster train isn't an option. For the track team, the pressure is on.
We gotta keep an eye on the time.
Jay's train has left the station. Now Darren needs to bring out the heavy metal.
This jack is good for like 50, I think it's 50 tons. It's a track jack. It's used for lifting track. And down here at the bottom, you can lift the rail from underneath. You see this plate here? This plate lip is supposed to be over top of this rail. Right now, it's below the rail, and the only thing holding it is a chunk of ice and these spikes. So it's nothing for the train to go over, and we'd have a derailment. We don't want that. And we're gonna put this under here, and we're gonna lift the track up. See, you listen now, it clicked.
It takes a huge amount of muscle power just to lift the track. Now they need to carefully slide the shims underneath.
Trains are very, very heavy, 200,000 pounds. Now he's gonna check to make sure that it's even. Too much? How's that?
It's just got to go up a little wee bit more.
And put a shim in here before we drop. He's gonna check it again to make sure that it's good.
Yeah, that's better.
Darren's crew must work both sides of the hump, lifting rails as they go. It takes precise coordination to make sure the tracks are level.
You don't want a sharp down and you don't want a sharp up, because the trains don't do that. They go sharp right through, right? Then it would just keep going into the ditch there or wherever. We have to get it done fast because we have a train coming and we want to get it out of the way. We don't ever want to hold them up.
It's taking longer than they'd hoped.
Okay, I'm going to put the shim in now. Come on! We got a train coming!
On board the paper train, Jay is feeling the strain.
With the 24 cars we added, there's always ice to consider because everything melts and then refreezes. We end up with a fair bit of ice, and with the tonnage we have, it's a little bit of a tougher pull.
Bringing a kilometre-long train to a sudden stop is impossible. Jay is counting on the track crews to make the fix and clear the line.
We've got a lot of our section guys out, especially this time of year, and doing a lot of work, constantly shimming the track so they don't have to give us a slow order and keep us rolling. A broken rail is one of the things that could potentially cause a derailment, and that's something we definitely do not want.
Up ahead, Darren and the track crew are still struggling.
We'll get her done. We gotta get her done. Train's coming, man.
It's back-breaking work.
This job's not made for old guys like me.
It's always challenging around here because of winter time. Everything has to be dug out, blown out. Your tools are cold, and you always have to wear big bulky mitts. You take a look at your rail, it's nice and even now. See, when the train goes over, it comes up nice and even, and we don't have any broken rails.
After an epic battle, the track is evened out. Now they have to fix all the rails in place.
It's gonna get loud here soon. He's using the hydraulic hammer. Things are looking up now. We're gonna get paid this week. Right on! Train goes through, we get paid.
Good job, guys. Good teamwork, man.
Darren's team has done it. The dangerous track is leveled out and ready to roll.
Everybody did an excellent job. Good job, boys. Let's clean this thing up. We want everything on time, every time. Is that our train coming?
Jay's massive train rolls smoothly over the tracks.
We're on the home stretch for sure.
Couple more miles to go and we're done.
The paper train makes it through this stretch, but it's still got a long way to go before it reaches its final destination.
ON 1809 South, entering North Cautionary Limit Sign, Cochrane Junction. It's important for us to get in there so that the yard shift can put the train together.
The train pulls into Cochrane. Here, yard workers will hook dozens more cars to Jay's train, turning it into a 90-car, 1.5 kilometre giant. Only then can the train and its newsprint head to Toronto and on to North America.
I gotta cut our train off here and put some handbrakes on and go over to the shop track.
Jay's day is far from done.
It's not unheard of for it to be 90 to 100 cars. It's easily the longest and biggest train we have on the system.
Not only do they risk losing the light, but a storm is set to hit.
They're calling for freezing rain tonight too, so we gotta watch out where we step now and be careful getting on and off the cars.
On shift is trainee conductor, Trevor Tobico, and he's feeling the pressure.
Got a lot of paperwork. It's gonna be a pretty busy night tonight. I'm just a conductor trainee right now, so I've been trainee for about maybe a month now. There's a lot more to it than what I thought. I'm not too sure where that one's going to. I'm a little lost right now. This is going to be the hardest part to figure out. We get a train journal every day. We got to make up the trains. And it shows where everything is, and what we got to decide is how we're going to get them out on the line the fastest.
Engineers have to attach the new cars to Jay's train in a specific order.
Big game of Tetris with a few 100 tons each.
The crew must break the train apart and direct the yard locomotives to shunt cars backwards and forwards through multiple switches.
One more 18-9.
Until they are all in the right place.
Just gotta line this switch so we can bring the engines up to the shop tracks. If I can get it unlocked.
Building a train this big is tough at the best of times. But it's about to get a whole lot tougher as storm clouds gather.
It looks like it'll just be snow, but under it could be a sheet of ice, and you're getting off a car and you step on that, and you could get lucky and just miss it, or you could fall in the track. That's one thing you gotta watch out for.
The snow and ice start to take their toll.
3 switches frozen there, guys.
The weather's been kind of funky. All the snow gets in the switch and it's just frozen solid. We can't turn them anymore. We gotta get them all shipped out underneath.
Without these switches, Trevor can't build the train. So he takes matters into his own hands. Finally, they clear the switches.
Good to go.
But with the snowstorm bearing down on them, they must move fast.
And you got 8 cars to switch.
Before long, Trevor's moving cars around the yard like a fully fledged conductor.
And 2 cars. It's gonna be a bit of an experience to get used to. A lot of the guys say I'm catching on quick. I'm having fun, I'm enjoying it.
After a long evening's work, they've beaten the snow and ice. The monster paper train is built and ready to leave.
We've got our leg of the journey done from Hearst to Cochrane. It's important that we got here with our train today.
Its precious cargo of newsprint will now head south, where it will be turned into newspapers for the masses.
It'll be headed to places like New York Times, Toronto Star, Chicago Tribune, probably a few other papers across North America.
After 6 hours, this paper train has traveled over 200 kilometers through the freezing wilderness. It's taken dedicated cargo crews.
Entering North Cautionary Limit Sign, Cochrane Junction. We've done our bit for today. We got everything in here in plenty of time.
Tough track maintenance teams.
We always work hard, and it's just the way it is.
Highly skilled mechanics. And quick-thinking yard workers.
1 car, and stop 85.
To get the newsprint to the printers on time. On one of the world's most extreme railroads.
Basically, I guess, job well done.